Hey, what's going on, everybody? Alex with you here again. Thank you for dropping by for yet another chess video. It's always great to see you guys. This video, I'm super excited to share with you guys a new chessboard that I've recently purchased. It's the Drueke style 2.25 square inch made out of maple and walnut by a family-owned Greek company called SakisTsiogkasWood. I really don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, and I hope that I don't sound too ignorant, but I just don't know how the Greek put the G's and K's together and make it sound. But either way, I'm super excited to share with you guys, and I was contacted by one of my subscribers. He said, if you're looking for a really good quality board, why don't you check out this company in Greece? It's a family-owned company, and they'll be able to make you a handmade board from scratch, essentially, if you order one. So I thought to myself, okay, let me go ahead and check them out. So I went in, and I'll shoot you guys a link below. They are on Etsy. Be sure to check them out. I went in, and I found a way to contact them. So I wrote him a small email saying, hey guys, this gentleman, Hank, who happens to be one of my subscribers, I told him about my YouTube channel, and I said, he recommended you guys. So I was wondering if you guys would be able to make a board for me, because some of these small companies don't necessarily have the time to make boards for everybody, so they might have like limited reservation to. So I asked them. They were super happy. They replied, I think, the same day. It was such a humbling experience to me to be contacted back by basically this company. In fact, the owner of this company, SakisTsiogkas, that kind of went more in depth and told me about how the company operates, and it was a very humbling experience to me. So I hope that the company itself doesn't mind, but they sent me this email back where they kind of spoke a little bit about themselves. The company is a totally family-owned business company where him and his father basically work together to make these chessboards, and his wife helps him out a lot too. His father is a carpenter, has been working with hardwoods all his life, and then eventually he himself, Athanasios, decided to join his father in making chessboards because they both love chess. They opened up an Etsy shop a couple of years ago. People really appreciate what they do, and they've received a lot of positive feedback and positive energy that is very important to them for what they do, basically. So like I said, it's a very humbling experience to be able to communicate with somebody and say, hey, can you make me a chessboard? Because it's different. It's different than, for example, you going for like House of Staunton or Chess Bazaar and purchasing a board. You might say, well, look, I found a less expensive board. Or, hey, I can get a board that's, maybe used or something. I can get this, I can get that. I can get a board quicker somewhere else. But if you go to maybe some of the other companies, yes, you're going to get a quality board. I've shown you guys a lot of really cool boards, but think about it in these terms, okay? Here you are, and you communicate with this company, and you say, do you guys think you would be able to make this board for me? Yeah, sure, we can make this board. I paid a full price for this board. I didn't really want any discounts because I felt like these are people that also are going to benefit from me paying for the board. I'm paying for their time. They're working hard. So you put in the request, and then Athanasios will say, hey, yeah, John that communicated with me earlier this week has placed an order for this particular board. And so they go and they say, Father, we're going to get started on this board. This is one of the difficult ones. So they'll say, okay, we'll need this, and this wood. As usual, this particular board requires this, and this amount of time. And while they're making that board, they're like, hey, John, we're going to get you that board. We're making this board for you. I mean, think about it. They're making that board from scratch for you, with you in their mind. They're like, yeah, John's going to be really happy. Or in my case, they're like, Alex is going to be really happy with this board. And they made it from scratch. And that's what makes it so special, Nobody's out there where you buy the board from House of Staunton or Chess Bazaar or anything. They make these boards mass-produced. Yeah, they might hand file them or whatever they might do, or hand make them, but they're not making it with you in mind. It doesn't necessarily make you any more special, but when you receive the board, you can think back that this company has spent a tremendous amount of time, hours and hours, perfecting this specific board for you, So it makes it so special and so unique. First of all, I have to say that a board like this made by a small company immediately becomes a collectible item because the company doesn't mass produce these boards. So therefore, if you say, hey, I have this board from this company, if other people are aware of this company, they will pay. Not that you would ever want to resell a board. I don't want to resell this board. I'll show you guys here in a second just how wonderful this board is. But I'd say if you ever wanted to resell a board like that, the resale value is going to be pretty high just because, once again, it's a company that makes only a few boards. They're not mass producing them all the time. And so, I decided to go ahead and buy the board. And I think I paid about $270 for the 2.25, which is reasonable for a price of the board. Because here's the thing. Also, another thing you have to take into consideration is that these people, they're making it like right there in their house. They're making it from scratch. You have to pay for the materials. You have to pay for their time. You have to pay for their expertise. Because here, if the board's handmade by a couple of guys that have been working with wood their entire life, you better believe that they're going to give you a quality product. It's not like, hey, we have these machine-made boards that any person can operate with just a little bit of experience. It's like the Ferrari of the boards. Because this board has been made by somebody that's been making these boards for so long, you bet they know what they're doing. Not only you could say, well, a board is a board, what does it take? I can get a rollout board and play a game of chess. It's not gonna really change the way I play. But I would have to disagree with you and say that we don't know all the fine details that go into making these boards, and only people that are true carpenters and have made a bunch of these boards, they will tell you this. They will tell you that when they're making these boards, that they just can't put squares, one dark, one light after the other in any random fashion. They have to actually look at the grain of the particular wood. You can't put one particular grain next to another particular grain, or maybe it won't look as aesthetic. This stuff is made by people who have done this enough to know what they're doing to give you the final product that you might appreciate, hopefully, like I am, and really appreciate the fact that a lot of craftsmanship and skill went into making this board. Sometimes if you appreciate something like this that's been made specifically for you, you will be happier playing on this board as opposed to, hey, it's just some Greek company, yeah, here's the money, and then as soon as you receive it, you don't even really pay attention. You're like, well, let's just play the game because that's all I wanted it for. It's just a game. This is a work of art. And it's going to appeal to the people that want a really nice board. It's going to appeal to the people that can differentiate between what is, took a lot of time and skill versus what might have taken a lot less time, It takes a lot less time to mass produce a roll-up board than it might to make this board and to have everything work together. And taking into account that, you get the final product. But sometimes when they're in the process of making that product, things break or things get defective or pieces of wood, end up having cracks. So you have to remake it or do this or do that. So it's not like it's a fluid, smooth process, And sometimes you just get your final product and you're like, wow, this is a great board. But behind the scenes, it might have taken a lot more effort than you realize, A lot of patience, effort, skill, and in the end you get what you wanted and they get the recognition and the feedback that and the positive energy that they were looking for. Because a small company like that, it's not just one company like this. There's a lot of other companies. There's really small family owned companies that make chess pieces that I'm also kind of exploring to see who makes what. And it's just that process of, hey, I've communicated with you, you know my name, a short kind of background about me. You're making this chess set or you're making this product for me, with me in mind. It's a humbling experience, and yet it's such a unique and special experience that I feel like, it's worth it. I have a buddy of mine that I knew since middle school, and I've recently got in touch with him because I thought he kind of fell off the face of the earth. And he, thanks for Facebook, I was able to find him, and he does 3D prints of different like toys and figurines. And I thought to him like, dude, this guy has a skill, he has a talent, he has a hobby or something he wants to turn into a full-time job that he's actually passionate about. He's happy about it, and it takes him patience and time to 3D print these toys and figurines and action figures and whatnot. He sits there afterwards and paints them, and it takes him a lot of time. And I asked him, I said, how much do you usually charge? He said, well, I usually want to charge about $1 per hour, which I thought to myself, that's kind of inexpensive, but it's just that he makes it for you. He makes it with you in mind. You order something. And I said to himself, he actually texted me the other day, and he said some guy wanted to know the pricing of approximately how much it would take to have something printed and painted. And after he told him, the guy said, well, you know what? I actually, on the second thought, I might just get a 3D printer myself, save some money, and start printing my own stuff. That's kind of being selfish, in my opinion. Like, you recognize that there's somebody that actually has been doing it for a while. And now you're like, what is better for me? Maybe I should start making my own chessboards. Whatever, I can do it myself. First of all, you won't be able to do it yourself like that. You won't be able to 3D print things and paint them in such a way that he's doing it. And why take that away from him? He's doing it for you. It's like an artist. Like, do you want to just pay Walmart or something to have a picture of you printed on a canvas board so you can put it in the wall? Or do you want some artist that's been painting pictures his entire life, maybe somebody who's not very well recognized, but somebody who's been doing it their whole life? Would you like them to maybe paint a picture of you instead? I would personally prefer the artist, because he's going to take his time, he's going to put in his skill, he's going to put in his heart and soul into this. And yeah, it might not come out as good maybe as a printed photograph, but if you want realism and perfection and you don't want to wait around for half a year or whatever, you just want to slap something on the wall, sure, you can go with Walmart. But you have to know that the printer won't think about you when they're printing your stuff. It's a very sort of a non-personalized approach. And for some people that works, because you'll get your print in a couple of days and it's very efficient and it's cheap and whatnot. But if you're going to have somebody personally make something for you, I think there's something really, really special about it. Or to start off with, and introduce you to this Drueke style. What makes the Drueke style board is usually right at the edge, right over here. You have where a little bit of a drop off and kind of like a nice rectangular trough, okay? And this trough drops off not a whole lot, but I would probably say about 5 millimeters or so down. And then underneath there is just a trough of this particular wood. Then it goes all the way up to the edge of the board, and it kind of just cuts through. And it's this right here that I've noticed on the original Drueke boards that were made in Michigan. This sort of a crisscross right here and this little square that really define this to be a Drueke style board with walnut and maple, made out of solid wood. Now, alternatively, you can get it made out of walnut and chestnut. It's not really that much of a price difference, but I wanted to go with maple just because I felt like out of the two different Drueke boards, this one, it was a little bit more expensive to do, but in the end, you get a really, really nice board. And it looks really good, too. This particular design size was 2.25. I wanted to get something tournament sized, for which I paid approximately $270. So if you wanted to get, there's different sizes that you can order. Personally, if you're going to order a board and pay for the shipping and the taxes, you might as well just order a nice large size board, but you can have the option of ordering this in 1.8 inch, also 2 inches, 2.25, which is this particular size, 2.35, and 2.5. I came to sort of a conclusion that a 2.25 size really goes well with a lot of chess pieces, unless you want a really large board for like a 4.4 inch pieces that are going to be, substantially bigger. They're going to be, the base is going to be a little bit bigger. For any like 3.75 or even 4 inch chess pieces, this board works really well. Hopefully you guys from this particular angle will be able to really appreciate just the squares and the grain of wood that is on these particular squares. I know it's a lot easier to see it in real life than it is on the camera, but just look at how pronounced and Oh, look at the grain. Look at the wood grain. It's so beautiful. It's amazing. So yeah, oftentimes people kind of get sidetracked, and they'll say, "Well, a game of chess is a game of chess, whatever. We can get this particular grain on a roll-up board for all intents and purposes, and still have a great game." But it's not until you actually have a board like this, then you actually recognize just how beautiful and how unique this board is. No two boards are going to be the same, just because no two boards are going to have the same grain of wood. Just look at this design. Look how cool this is. To be able to have this, just is beautiful. It makes every square unique. It's more so apparent, of course, with the light squares here, but even with the dark squares, you can see, even like if we move the camera around a little bit, so we can see a little bit better. I know it's different lighting conditions, but it is so cool, in my opinion. And like I said, I've reviewed a lot of different boards. I just find this to be really, really cool. And to have it be made that everything fits together so nicely it's a work of art. These particular pieces, in my opinion, work really, really well on this board. What do you guys think? What do you think about the board? I know that the company itself, I sent him an additional email, and I said to them, I can see that your guys are making a lot of different boards. Now, I just wanted to know, like, which particular board is your all's favorite, sort of the heart and soul? Which one do you guys believe is the best board that you guys make? He sent me back an email that was very thorough, and he said, well, the Drueke board's not our style, but we do make it from scratch and enjoy making it quite a bit. They say, I will tell you, mostly the platform boards, the ones that the playing surface is a bit elevated from the frame. This was actually our original and first design when we first started, okay? And specifically the board that is with walnut and chestnut, and walnut frame was our first board. So if you guys are looking for particular boards and you don't know which one to choose, well, you guys have seen this one, and I think that this is a really, really nice board for reasons that I didn't really want to necessarily get something super, super contrasty. Therefore, I am really pleased with this combination of walnut and maple here. I think it goes well with a lot of chess pieces, to be honest with you. But there are other boards that are like made out of different woods that are more contrasty, like Wenge, and that you might prefer. So, like I said, to each their own, and depending on what kind of pieces you have, maybe one board might look better with certain pieces than with another. So, anyways, also he said the Drueke boards were amazing boards, but it's not the design that they created. Last year they introduced one new board that is made with Wenge and chestnut for squares and rosewood bubinka for the frame. And I must say that is the most likable board. I don't know if likable means that people like that board when they order it. I'm not sure. Actually, he said the personal four boards that are his favorite, Athanasius, are walnut, chestnut, and walnut frame, the elevated one that he spoke of. The elevated one as well, but with sapel squares and Wenge frame. So that's his second. The white Wenge is a really nice board too. That might be another board that I might purchase. And then the rosewood as well with Wenge and chestnut squares. So there you go. Those are the company's favorite ones. How is that relevant to you? Well, some of their favorite boards or some of the favorite products that any company might make, they might be more specialized in it because they made more of those boards. They might have perfected them more. It's like if a car company comes out with Honda Civic, model or generation 16, then you hope by the 16th generation, they have already kind of smoothed out all the kinks and the car is as good as it's going to be, versus if I don't know, Toyota comes up with a brand new car, never seen before, but it's the first generation, it might have some flaws and everything. So therefore, like I said, if you guys are looking to get a really nice, personalized, unique board, check them out. Check them out, see what they have. As far as shipping time, it really depends on where you are. Price wise, yeah, you might end up paying a little bit more for shipping than perhaps some of the other companies. But then again, I'm so used to like ordering from House of Staunton, which is essentially almost next door to me, that maybe I've been spoiled with low shipping costs. In fact, for House of Staunton, a lot of times I remember I didn't even need to pay shipping up until recently, but even now, shipping might be like $14, $10, something like that. And I guess I got used to having inexpensive shipping. But the reality is, some other companies, they might really be on the other side of the planet and they might actually have to pay for really heavy boards. I wanted to kind of give you guys an idea about this specific board as far as how does it feel like to play on this board. Well, the short answer is it feels awesome. It feels amazing. And why would you say it feels amazing to play this particular board as opposed to any other board out there? A roll-up board, composite wood board, any other board, marble board, plastic board, what have you. I mean, you could argue and say, hey, 64 squares is 64 squares. I can play my game of chess anywhere. I can play my game of chess on the computer. It doesn't really matter to me. Yeah, it kind of does. And unfortunately, I can't necessarily translate that information as best as I could through the video. But just trust me, okay? Maybe if you guys came in and stepped inside this room with me and said, okay, let's play a few games, and then you would say, all right, Alex, I can see what you're talking about, okay? I can definitely see what you're talking about. But it's sort of like, okay, so if you see somebody driving a Mustang out there, and you say, well, a Mustang is a Mustang. I mean, I'm sure he's having fun driving it, but I would never spend that much money on an old Mustang. One of those classic 1967 Shelby, whatever, GT. I'd much rather spend that money to get a nice, newer Honda Civic, and that has AC and it rides smoother, and if I have the need to do any repairs on it, most of the parts are available, okay? So you could say, I don't see the point, in words, I don't see the point of owning a Mustang until you actually get in behind the steering wheel of a Mustang, drive it around, get used to it, and you would say, okay, now I see what all the fuss is about. It's because the way the engine is very unique and characteristic. It's because the car feels more alive than perhaps, a Tesla or a Honda Civic. It feels like it has a soul in a sense. And I can't necessarily tell you guys, just trust me, this board has a soul of its own. But no, I would say it's different, okay? And some of that has to do with the way the board is made, because the density of wood is different in different boards. But I would have to say that it also has to do with the glue that's made to push these squares together, and how everything basically is put together. How does the board resonate? Now you could say, this is not a musical instrument. It's not going to be resonating. Yes, it does. It doesn't resonate the same way a musical instrument does when it provides you with sound. But when you're playing on this board and you're actually putting your pieces, the vibration, you could call me kind of like I'm a little too picky, but I know this type of stuff because I've spent a lot of time looking at these boards. I spent a lot of time looking at different boards. The vibration of your chess piece, when you're putting it on the squares, is going to be different on different surfaces, okay? And the vibration, the sound, everything, it's different. And this board and other boards like this that are made out of solid wood will feel different than composite wood boards will. This board is not light by any means. It's probably at least, I would say, close to 10 pounds. I don't have a scale that would be able to measure it at this time. But take my word for it, this scale only goes up to like 2.3 kilograms, which is 5 pounds something, and it gives me an error, so this is a lot heavier. From the front here, this is what it looks like from the front. And then on the back, you have the other side, which has the same pieces back on the other side. And then they have these nice brown pieces of felt that are relatively thick, positioned on all four sides. The fact that the board is slightly lifted a little bit off the table is why you have that nice sound to it. Right over here, they have a, I know it's going to be a little bit hard to see, but over here they have a SGW that is stamped out, so it's kind of like dug in there essentially. That's the name of the company. And then The board number is 635. So I'm assuming it's their 635th board. By that time that, you know, they made quite a few boards for people, but at the same time, it shows us that this is indeed a collectible board. Because, like I said, they're not making millions of them. So that's really, really cool. I'm going to be ordering more boards from them. It was more on the slightly more expensive side as far as what I've spent on boards. But then again, do you want a board that's specifically made for you, or do you want one that's just been made for somebody and you ended up being the one who bought it? I would say if I brought this and some grandmaster came to this house and I wanted to play a game with him, if I put the pieces here on this board and I'd say, let's play a game of chess, I would bet you guys he would look and he would say, that's a really nice board, even without me prompting him to say that. And he would say, that's a really nice board, and these pieces go really, really well on it. That's about it, my friends. Hopefully you have enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you think about the board. What do you think about the way these chess pieces look on this board? These chess pieces are actually one of my favorite chess pieces to play with, just because they are very modest in shape. They don't protrude too far out. There's not too many details. I like them because they look very comfortable to play. There's no sharp edges or anything that kind of makes it, you know, it's just basically, it's a very appealing chess set for me. It's one of my best chess sets. I've already mentioned this before. I bought this from Royal Chess Mall. That's where I got it from. And like I said, I couldn't be happier with any other chess set. Honestly, this is my go-to chess set nowadays for playing any games. I played on this board with this particular chess set with my wife the other day, and it was a very, very nice experience. So let me know what you guys think, and thank you once again for stopping by to check out this video. Thank you for everything, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay.